Welcome. This is the second module in the 7-step process of building a standalone business. We're going to talk today about vision, goals, and planning. And I'm going to tell you some things you've probably heard a million times already. It's completely stale and completely true that failing to plan is planning to fail. It's hard to argue with it, and the fact is that if you look at the evidence, people who do the planning, the companies who do the planning, the ones who do succeed are always heavily invested in a planning process. I worked for a division of PepsiCo at one time, and our plans were down to the month, down to the individual line item account in the general ledger. And the old joke was, as soon as the end of the fiscal year came around in December, it was time to start planning again. That was kind of a joke, but not really, because we took the entire fourth quarter to create the plan for the following year. I'm not going to tell you which division of which division of PepsiCo that was, but I will tell you it was and is an extremely profitable organization. And has been so forever, and in large part for the fact that they know where they're going and they have a path to steer by. Companies that, small businesses that don't plan, they may not fail immediately. You can get along, but you'll limp, and you never really are going to grow unless you do have a plan, because it's like a ship without a course or a destination. It's exactly how many owners run their businesses. And that's the reason why on New Year's Eve, we just, as I record this, we're not too far past a New Year's Eve. I talk to owners again and again, and they say, they complain, gosh, I didn't get anything accomplished this year. And I'll say, well, what did you want to get accomplished? And they say, well, I wanted to be doing better. And I said, well, what's better? Oh, we wanted to grow, and we wanted to, okay, well, I'll ask, what's grow mean? Was that 5%, 10%, 20%? Did you mean in your income, or did you mean in your revenue? Well, I just kind of wanted to do better. Well, if that's the type of plan you have, you're going to look back, these people will look back in another year and have the same conversation. They and I will have the same conversation, that they're right back where they started, or they're right back where they were a year previously. So how do you get out of that rut, that every New Year's Eve I'm right back where I started a year ago? First of all, we have to start by creating a personal long-range vision, a personal one. Then we have to create a roadmap that gets you from where you are today, including some milestones and a timetable. And then that's for a personal vision. And then what we'll have to do is create a business roadmap, easy for me to say, to support that. So first of all, let's start with a personal vision. What is it? Well, don't roll your eyes. It's your dream of what life will be like in 5, 10, 20 years, whatever you decide to make it. It should be inspiring, it should be optimistic, and it should be motivational. At this point, it's really easy to just simply jump to, I want a bunch of money by such and such an age. But let's hold on for a minute before we get there. Why is it important? It's because it sets the goal, the purpose, the direction, and the timetable and the values for both you and your business. There's no point in going to sea. I like the ship's captain analogy, and you're going to probably, if you go through many of these modules with me, you're going to hear that. You're going to hear me talk about the captain and the crew and the ship more than once. And it's because it's a good metaphor to a business. There's no point in going out to sea, setting to sea without knowing where you're going. You'd think the captain was nuts if he didn't know where he was going, if he didn't have a route planned, if he didn't have intermediate checkpoints that he wanted to hit along the way, and if he didn't have a timetable of getting from point A to point B. Now, vision gets a bad rap. There's a couple of reasons why, and some of them are very justified. One is, for decades, visioning has been an exercise that's made a lot of money for consultants, and I'll admit to being guilty of that. I was once hired by a very large and famous company to come in among. I wasn't the only one. There was a group of us who came in and conducted an exercise with their senior management to get them to create a vision statements of not personal ones, but for the company. And they got pretty outlandish. They were involving being the biggest of the number one or sole supplier of all the software of this type in the known universe, because I pushed them to say, go beyond just the Milky Way. Is that a useful statement? Probably not so much, but again, I'll be culpable for that. Vision sounds too woo-woo to apply to the real world. And the one that I'm going to really talk about here is the fact that vision gets a bad rap because it's not used right. It isn't implemented right. But Jack Welch, and if you remember, Jack's been in the news a little bit in the not too distant past because the company that he built, which was General Electric, and he was just a stunningly successful guy, building GE into just a remarkable company, and doing it ethically and doing it in a very, very I mean, he was a hard-nosed guy, but he was hard and he was fair and he got results in an ethical way. But what he said was, good business leaders create a vision, articulate the vision, passionately own the vision, and relentlessly drive it to completion. Jack, as I say, he's not as known as an airy-fairy kind of woo-woo guy. You can look him up and look at some YouTube videos of him, look at some interviews. This is not a woo-woo guy. This is a no-nonsense results character. And if it's good enough for Jack, given the great results he got over the last 20 years, I think we can say it's probably good enough for you and me. The process isn't any different for a one-man business, for a mom and pop, or for you personally. And there's a million of these cliches. If you don't know where you're going, every road will get you nowhere. What are the steps? First of all, we want to specify what you want your life to look like long-term in certain key areas. You can kind of pick what those areas are, but here are some suggestions. And we'll stop there for now.